What's up, everybody? It is the Pauper J, and this is going to be another one of those really bad, unedited, just flat out. I talk to the camera or the audio recorder about Pauper's meta and how healthy it is right now. And to be honest, I think it is very healthy compared to how it used to be, due to the fact that so many of the top tier decks were just blue decks. I mean, like, so many of them blue. I mean, tier 1, like, still blue and red, and it's been like that forever. But I feel like right now, after the blue bannings with Gataxian Probe and I think Gush, like, and there's another one, but I think it's really shaped the format into a more healthy version of itself, making it even easier for homebrews to be in it. And starting off, I want to go over Blue-Red Delver, which, as its namesake, has Delver of Secret. It's a blue-red deck. What else you need to know? It's blue-red. It's a mainstay in the format. I mean, like, the fact that it gets to play Hydroblast and Pyroblast in its sideboard, which are the counter spells for themselves, meaning it's a deck that gets to counter itself in its own sideboard. It's going to be a tier 1 deck, but this is kind of like how Standard had the mono blue tempo deck. It's not exactly that, but it's a blue-red tempo-ish deck that just plays stuff like Spell Stutter Sprite, which is for 2 mana flash flying. When it comes into play, counter target spell with converted mana cost X or less, where X is the number of fairies you control. It just slows down your opponent while they build a fine board state. Like Ninja the Deep Hours is a 4 mana 2/2, but it has ninjutsu, and ninjutsu for 2 mana, and you may return an unblocked attacker you control to its only hand and put it on the battlefield and attacking. Whenever it deals combat damage to a player, you may draw a card. So it just out-tempos your opponent. Gets extra cards in its hand. It gets to play stuff like Brainstorm. Freaking Brainstorm. 1 mana instant, draw 3 cards and put 2 cards from your hand on top of your library in any order. Like, that is insane. It gets access to Lightning Bolt and actual counterspell. Like, actual, literal counterspell. 2 mana counterspell. There's a reason why this deck is tier 1. And actually, it's fairly healthy. I don't think this deck is overpowering. I don't think that we really need to worry about it. I mean, it's just a blue-red deck. It's not like it's gonna like overly win every single game. Yes, it's like almost 10% of the meta. No doubt about that. 1 in every 10 decks you're gonna play is gonna be this deck. But you can outvalue it easily outvalue this deck. It's not gonna be that hard. And the fact is there used to be a ton of decks like this. I mean, like, there just used to be so many different blue-red decks. Is it Killing? Like, blue-red was just everywhere. The fact that there's only one really big blue-red deck right now, I'm fine with that. I'm very fine with that. Let's go on to Burn. Burn is exactly what it is. It's almost 8% of the meta right now, and it's a more budget deck. It's only like $67, or the other one was like $100. And it's just like, if you like playing Burn in Modern, you'd love playing this deck. I think this is one of the easiest ones to get into and play. It's easily beatable. If you're playing green, you get life gain in your sideboard. You play in black, you get life gain in your sideboard. You play in white, you get life gain in your sideboard. You play in blue, you get Hydroblast in your sideboard. Like, it's easy to beat. All you gotta do is run a little life gain. Even the lands in this format gain you life. Run a little life gain. Don't die to the burn. If you die for game 1, at least you get the sideboard. Sometimes you want to dedicate almost like 4 slots in your sideboard to burn if it's a bad matchup. And I mean, it's completely fair. It's completely fun. And a format where burn is so high up in the tier is a great format. That means that they allow burn to be really strong, which a lot of people like that. But also they always give people who don't want to deal with burn an answer. You always have an answer to burn. If you gain life, you don't die to burn. You can gain like so much life in Pauper, it's not even funny. All the great sideboard cards for burn are common, so there's no reason that you should be scared of burn in the format. Next up is Elves. Ooh, Elves is such a cool deck. Not only is it a tribal deck, which, if we haven't noticed lately in Magic the Gathering, tribal decks are just everywhere. It's about a $75 deck, and it runs just a whole bunch of elves, and it will go ahead and make a ton of tokens. And you can easily beat this with a card called Electrickery, or if you want to cascade into it, you run a thing called Blazing Volley. You steal 1 damage to all their creatures, and you don't die to all their elves, because almost all of their elves are like only a couple mana. But like, even in their sideboard, they play a card called Essence Warden, which is a green version of Soul Sisters, any of the Soul Sisters. So whenever another creature comes into play, you gain 1 life. It's a 1 mana 1/1 elf. Like, the decks are ready to deal with burn. They're ready to deal with Izzet, and elves. Elves is very easy to deal with too. There's always going to be a really good answer in your sideboard for all these pauper cards, and it's awesome. Rainbow Tron. So yes, Tron is a thing in pauper, and it's really awesome because this isn't as powerful and isn't as scary as modern Tron. Yeah, they play all of the Tron lands, and yeah, it's really cool that they do that. But like, what they're cheating out, what they're quote unquote cheating out, isn't anything scary. One of their cool cards I think is Condescend, counter target spell unless its controller pays X, scry 2, but it is 1 blue and X, so it's a really cool counter spell. But I don't, actually that's a weird, yeah, because they don't want to have double blue in their deck, so instead they run counter spells that have only 1, like Remove Soul, which is counter target creature spell, I believe. Counter target summon spell. I'm pretty sure that means creature spell. By the way, I'm literally just going through these right now and just talking about it. Even main board. This deck main board runs Pulse of Marasa. 3 mana instant. Return target creature or land card from a graveyard to its owner's hand. You gain 6 life. So this is meant to be able to deal with whenever you destroy one of the Tron lands or whenever you get one of their creatures. So they have like Invoke in the deck and stuff like that. So this is actually really cool. They have main deck life gain. So, aka Screw You Burn. I bet you they probably run a couple more on the sideboard. I guess not, huh? But they do run Hydroblast and Pyro. This deck runs all the colors, so you can tell that pauper is shaped around blue-red due to the fact that Hydroblast and Pyroblast are like just such an important thing. Capsize. So Capsize is even played in the sideboard. So for 2 blue and a colorless, it's an instant with buyback 3. Return target permanent to its owner's hand. Oh, that's dirty. They only run one as a 1 of in the sideboard. I actually don't know what they're running that as a 1 of for, but I think pauper is at a very, very healthy state right now. Because before, I'm telling you before, there was a really big problem. But like here's one of the best things how you know the format is doing good. At 5% of the meta is Stompy. Freaking Stompy. Mono green Stompy, a $60 deck. And you know what Stompy does? Exactly what you would think. It stomps your opponents down. It plays big green creatures and hits their opponent in the face. Like, not even, and it got 3rd place at Rags to Riches. 3rd place. A mono green Stompy deck. Okay, it has like a red green card. Like, it's a mono green deck. Like, although it has some like alternate cost stuff, it only runs green mana sources in its mana base, so it's a mono green deck. But in its sideboard, it runs Life Goes On. You gain 4 life. If a creature died this turn, instead you gain 8 life for 1 mana. There is so many easy ways to deal with burn in this format, and that is such a beautiful thing. The fact that burn is still a tier 1 deck, and yet every single deck has an answer to it. Like, modern and standard are going through a really bad time right now. Standard is having a Teferi apocalypse where, oh, I play little Teferi. Oh, I go up and I'm now playing big Teferi. What are you supposed to do about that? Like, really, what are you supposed to do about that in standard? And in modern, we got the new, like, people are playing main deck graveyard hate. Like, yes, it's stopping all the other decks, like, it's stopping all the graveyard decks from going wild. But at the same time, if you have to run main deck graveyard hate, there's a problem with graveyard decks. Is it Phoenix? I mean, it's scary how like competitive, not competitive. It's scary how like one based modern and standard are right now. Like there are only a couple decks you can play. Like modern, like yeah, you got humans and you got all these exciting decks, but it's very hard to create something of your own in modern. You can do it, but you can't guarantee it's gonna do well. And in standard, yeah, you can do it, and yeah, your deck idea is gonna be fun, but you're never gonna have fun when you're playing against blue-white. Like whoever says, "Man, I can't wait to play against blue-white" when they're not a burn or an aggro deck or a deck with like a good matchup against it. No one just thinks, "Man, that is fun, fair Magic." And you can say I'm just complaining about blue. Oh, you think blue is too overpowered? Blah blah blah. It can be. Blue can be very overpowered. It's one of those colors that when it disrupts the format, it really disrupts it, because if red is doing way too well, it's like there is an answer for it. There's a clear answer. You gain some life. That's exactly what's going on against like burn. Burn in modern, people think, oh, you're dumb for playing it. No, it is a super duper fair game. I mean, meeny, miny, mo. Let me just pick a tiger by its toe and stop rambling here. So I'm just gonna, after the mono green Stompy, I've done my thing, is Kadoltha Boros. A $66 deck at the moment. And it's just a Boros deck. A Boros deck. Like, Boros is one of the, like, least loved colors in my opinion. I mean, aggro players love it because they want to play creatures and be aggressive. But when it comes to meta, a lot of times red-white gets the shaft. It takes it right in the butt. Because sometimes it's not as fast as the red decks, and it's not as strong as the creature decks, so it's kind of sometimes stuck in the middle in my opinion. But I've run stuff like Glint Hawk. A 1-mana 2/2 flyer, when it enters the battlefield, sacrifice it unless you return an artifact you control to its owner's hand. A 1-mana 2/2 flyer, if that isn't good, I don't know what is. Thraben Inspector, a 1-mana, when it enters the battlefield, investigate. It's a 1/2. So it puts a creature and then allows you to draw later. But the important thing is that Clue is an artifact token, meaning you can return it to your hand with Glint Hawk. So that is an important thing. Core Skyfisher, 2-mana, 2/3, flyer, enters the battlefield, return a permanent you control to its owner's hand. Remember, you can return that Clue. A 4-drop, when it enters the battlefield, you become the Monarch. It's a 2/4. Palace Sentinels. Like, the creature base is just a really solid, nice creature base. It runs a playset of Lightning Bolt. It's a red deck, of course it does. Faithless Looting, it runs 1 Faithless Looting, and that's actually really, like, who can complain about that? Galvanic Blast. 1-mana instant, deals 2 damage to any target. Metalcraft, it deals 4 damage to that permanent player. If you control 3 or more artifacts. So it can be a better or worse Lightning Bolt. And they run a playset of both of those. A playset of both. So they're almost like a burn deck with just a really heavy focus on creatures. They run Prismatic Strands, which is 3-mana instant, prevent all damage that sources of a color of your choice would deal this turn. So if they're not playing red or white, you can just name whatever color they're dealing, and that means your creatures still get to get the damage in. And then that flashback is tapped and untapped white creature you control. I mean, you play from graveyard. That's so cool that just hoses so many creature decks. Like Mono Green Stompy. Just imagine trying to play Mono Green Stompy, and you go to swing in, and they're like, okay, block all your creatures, Prismatic Strands, your creatures are gonna die. Mine aren't. Go back to my turn, swing in. I mean, you can say that kind of sounds bad and unfun. That's perfectly fine, because you need to learn when you need to swing in and when you don't. Other than that, I mean, I think that's where we leave it. I mean, the deck runs Journey to Nowhere, which is the white removal spell. We don't even get past the exile for white. That's kind of sad, but at the same time, it's reasonable because we don't want too many colors to have access to 1-mana removal spells. You might say, oh, well, every color deserves it. Nope. Certain colors are better at removal than others, and that is an important thing to keep in Pauper, because Pauper is the purest form of Magic the Gathering. You can say I'm wrong, blah, blah, blah. It's the closest constructed format that isn't like a block thing to draft. I mean, you get to only play with quote-unquote weaker cards, but you get to construct it. You get to do whatever you want. I mean, the sideboard of this runs like Electrickeries and Pyroblasts, Relic of Progenitus, because there are graveyard decks. There's like, you get to recur big creatures decks. There's decks that run Grimag Angler, because Grimag Angler, a delve creature, that's a big card in the format. It's a 1 mana 5/5 basically. Once you delve away all your cards, you get a 1 mana 5/5. That's perfectly fair in this format. I mean, Hogak, what? Convoke and delve. You drop an 8/8 turn 2. That's not fun. I mean, I would love to play that. Yes, I would like to be the player of that. But no one ever wants to see their opponent drop an 8/8 turn 2 in any format. So that's why Modern is having a Graveyard Apocalypse, and Standard is having Standard. And then on top of that, Commander. Oh my God, the new Urza. Like, I got to play against the new Urza. I actually just quit Commander because of it. Like, I'm not gonna, because everyone's gonna be playing Urza, and it's just unfun. I mean, oh, I'm complaining about blue again. No, that Urza is a complete nut house, and no one wants to play against that in Commander. And the fact that it's so easy to get your hands on, it's so easy to just to run Paradox Engine and a couple counter spells and stop your opponent from winning the game. Like, I don't want to play against a meta like that. And there's always going to be that one Urza player that sits down, and you're going to look at them. Everyone is going to have to look at them and be like, so we're either going to kill you or you're going to kill us. And that's not fun in a Commander environment. Tribal decks, stuff like that is fun in a Commander environment. I think CDH would be really cool if it wasn't as dominated as it is by blue. Like, almost like over half of the tier 1 Commander decks are blue. And that's bullshit, because that's only one of the 5 colors. Why is almost every single format dominated by the color blue? I know like you guys love Urza and Jace, but you can't let your format be dominated by a single freaking color when it's supposed to be spread out by 5 colors. Like, you're either 5 colors in Commander, you're blue, blue something else, blue a couple other things, but mainly staying blue, or you're like Gitrog Monster. Like, that's really where I sit with it. Like, why is Magic catering to blue players like this? Is it because everyone wants to feel like they're smart when they're playing blue? Ha ha ha, I'm so cheeky, I run counter spells. I love blue as a color. I love playing it in draft, but they're supporting it way too much, and it then allows them to support red, because red's the only thing that can really take out blue effectively. And then after that, it just leaves the mid-range players to try to pick out the red players that are picking off the blue players. And that is, and not in Commander, by the way, because Commander, red sucks. It literally is, like, blue combos off just as well as every other color, but it can hold up counter spells. It can hold up 3 freaking counter spells. You cannot let a color do what every other color does just as well, but also counter spells. That is bull, that is unfair, that just isn't right. You can argue against that all you want. It doesn't matter. It's my opinion, and I'm sticking to it. I'll see you guys later. Goodbye.